Hey guys, Jenna here and welcome to another JRDM video. This is the first in a series I'd like to call Through the Lens. This is basically going to be me looking at cool cameras and equipment and anything related to videography and doing real world reviews on them. Boy, am I getting ahead of myself. Today's video is going to be all about my newest camera in the range, the Canon 90D. So today I'm going to be using my Canon 700D to shoot me, and for a different perspective I have my iPhone overhead, like those cool unboxing videos that you might see online. Right, let's get to it. Just a quick note, I am mostly going to be talking about this camera in a videographer's perspective, but I will be getting into the photography side of things too. So let's meet our star. And this is the box it comes in. Now I already had a couple of EF lenses, which is what this takes, so I just bought the body. Inside the box you also get the battery, a charger and a strap. I personally don't use a strap because I feel like it inhibits my movement. Now there is this chunky manual, but I didn't bother reading it because of this new thing called the internet. The Canon 90D released in August of 2019 to replace the 80D, a mid-market semi-pro DSLR, but the 90D is so much more. With a 32.5 megapixel APS-C CMOS sensor and Canon's latest Digic 8 chipset, this is far from your average camera. The 90D also has 270,000 pixel RGB and infrared meter sensoring for a more precise autofocus. Coming in at just under £1,100 or $1,500 US, I think this camera is well worth the price, and I'll explain why. Let's talk about the body of the camera first. With the type of movies I make, I can't have a camera that's too heavy or will slip out of my hands. This camera is the complete opposite. Although it is a little larger than my previous DSLR, it feels no heavier and is well balanced. My hand fits perfectly into this deep groove, which means I can confidently do something like this. The camera is well built and feels rigid, which is important for any active videographer. Even in terms of button placement, everything just feels right. You have your main control pad with a dial around it for quickly running through options, your usual cue, media and delete buttons, and I especially like this new dedicated joystick just above the main control that allows you to adjust autofocus settings quickly. On the top you have a backlit LCD display showing the basic shooting settings, and on the other side you'll find a thick mode dial allowing easy access to multiple shooting settings and manual modes. It is also self-locking so you don't accidentally switch in between shots. The shutter button is located just in front of the top screen and is angled to make it more ergonomic. The next most important thing to the shutter button is the shutter speed dial, located right next to it, and any photographer will tell you why that's prime placement. This camera is full of handy little touches that make life just that little bit easier, such as the 3.5-inch full color and fully articulating LCD touchscreen. You may think that this isn't that important, but the articulation means you can put the camera anywhere, making it perfect for vlogging. For those of you who are not used to using a viewfinder, you won't necessarily understand this, but most cameras don't actually offer 100% field of view. But the Canon 90D offers a full field of view with autofocus points showing up in real time so you can size up your shots perfectly. On the side you have your output options such as micro USB-B and HDMI. The HDMI option allows you to output in lossless 4K, which is actually quite a new feature. You also have your headphone jack and mic input. Again, the little things go a long way, such as these dust covers on the ports. On the other side you have a locking barn door for your memory card. The 90D takes standard SD cards and micro SD with the SD adapter. Love the little details such as inserting the card so the front faces you and you can tell what card you're using. If we see the underside of the camera, you have the battery compartment and the tripod screw hole. Again, I like the location of the battery compartment as I don't have to remove the tripod plate to change out the battery. Battery life is pretty good actually. It comes with a lithium-ion LP-E6M battery pack that's good for 1300 shots or about 2.5 hours of video time in 4K, which trust me is a lot. With the included charger, full charge from zero takes about 2 hours. Canon has always been known to have easy to use interfaces, and the 90D is no different. I was able to familiarise myself with the various menus in a couple of hours. The 90D also offers Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connectivity, which means I can use my smartphone to view and transfer media and use the phone itself as a remote trigger, which is what I use for filming these studio segments. Taking pictures on this camera is so simple. With multiple modes and preset scenes, even an amateur could come up with some beautiful images. Image quality is just outstanding, best I've ever seen. Color processing is so on point that each color is represented accurately. At 32.5 megapixel, you get a lot of detail packed into each shot. And it can be hard to understand with words how much detail we're talking about here. So here's a comparison with an iPhone 12 image. You can see when you zoom into the iPhone 12 image, the pixels become blurred, but the Canon image holds the same sharpness and clarity. A little party trick of this camera is its ability to take a picture instantly. So if I hold this shutter down and I turn the camera on, you'll hear the shutter close immediately. Now to show I'm not cheating, I'll turn the camera off, and without pressing the shutter, so I'm going to hold it on the flash, turn the camera on, no sound. That's pretty impressive. Now to show you how fast the shutter really closes, take a look at this. Professional photographers like to shoot their images in RAW format, so they have more flexibility when they edit in post-production. But I'm more into the video side of things, so the images that come straight out of this camera are simply stunning. Just so you guys know, none of the images or video examples that you'll see in this video have been edited in any way. This ain't Instagram. Now for the reason I personally bought this camera, the video capability. Previously I'd only shot my movies in full HD 1080p. Then I got my iPhone 12 and was able to film in 4K at 24 frames per second. This was a huge step up and you could really tell the difference. But then I bought the 90D and the clarity of native 4K on a DSLR just blew me away. Another comparison with the iPhone, you can just see the crisper detail and how much more impact the depth of field adds. 4K in night scenes is equally as stunning. The video doesn't lose detail and you don't have the slowness that you may get in other cameras when it adjusts to different light levels. Autofocusing with 4K also works a treat. Look how seamlessly the touchscreen processes the desired focus point. Another feature utilising the 4K sensor is time-lapse. You can easily set time duration and interval along with the actual image settings and let the camera get on with it. The only problem I have with 4K is the large file sizes, but obviously it's because there's more detail. But with the amount of takes I do when I film these studio segments, my hard drive actually hates me. Now the other main reason why I bought this particular camera is because of its capability to film full HD slow motion. There are very few cameras that give you the option of 4K and full HD slow motion for under 1500 quid. Now I know most smartphones out there shoot 240 frames per second at full HD, and I admit I use this all the time too. But when you have slow motion on a DSLR, the added depth and clarity you achieve with the help of various lenses is unbeatable. So to wrap things up, I absolutely love this camera. I hadn't upgraded my previous Canon 700D in a while and I spent months looking for its replacement. But from the start, the Canon 90D not only got my attention but kept it. However many times I kept looking for alternatives, I came back to the same place. For around £1,000 you have so many shooting options at your fingertips. The well-built body housing the latest tech sets it apart from other mid-tier DSLRs. Ergonomic design and practical control aspects make using the 90D swift and painless. Image-wise, the intelligent autofocus and the 32.5 megapixel sensor do justice to your images by bringing them to life. Video-wise, I cannot fault this camera. 4K looks absolutely stunning and the colours just burst off your screen. The slow motion, however, is the highlight for me. It just adds a dynamic way for you to shoot your stories. In the interest of fairness, there are a few downsides to this camera, such as you can't use it while you're charging it, so via USB or whatever. You have to take the battery out or you need to buy a spare battery or a battery grip. Also, the onboard mic is a bit limited, so if you're vlogging around areas of high distortion, such as wind, you might want to invest in a mic. So all in all, if you're a keen videographer or photographer and you have some previous experience with a DSLR, then I highly recommend the Canon 90D as your upgrade option. It carries the functionality of a high-end cinematic camera for the price of a smartphone. Next week's video is going to be something different again, but I'm not going to say anything now. So stay tuned and I'll see you again next time. Thank you for watching.